PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Mike Mardis from Finch, Director of Marketing with them. How are you doing today, Mike?
Fantastic. Happy Juneteenth, Ernesto. I don't know if this is when the episode's going to drop, probably not, but we are recording here in the United States on Juneteenth. So happy Juneteenth to all those celebrating and getting the day off work for it. Congratulations.
Right. I would say so. A lot of great accomplishments. So definitely a happy Juneteenth to everybody out there. And well, I'm glad to have you, Mike, on here. And well, I'm sure our listeners are tuning in, wondering what Finch is all about. So let's kick it off with that, Mike. In your own words, can you tell us a little bit more?
Yeah, so I mean, Finch is a performance marketing agency. We work specifically, not exclusively. We have a few kind of other clients outside of this, but we do D2C marketing, performance marketing for e-commerce brands. So people who sell products through their website. Some of them sell them on, marketplaces like Amazon or Walmart. But what we do is we connect all of the disparate data. Data is a huge problem for most brands right now. You have data being reported in Google if you're running Google ads or doing PMAX, and you have Meta reporting somewhere else, and you have your Amazon data somewhere else. You've got your cart data somewhere else that's reporting either through Shopify or WooCommerce or something like this. You're selling these products. You also have your website data, so your traffic data. All of these things are reported in different systems. What we do is bring all that stuff together so that we can get a full picture of your performance ecosystem. That really helps us understand which moving parts affect the other parts. We can do a lot of really good testing about, for example, what happens if I lower my Meta budget for my branding campaigns? Do I see a dip in conversions for my PMAX campaigns? These are things that are pretty difficult to do unless you can get all your data together and really do it in a systematic way. And we have some automations and AI built into our system that allows us to detect when certain data points get wonky. If you get a spike, if you get a spike or you get a dip below what we expect out of a data point, we can flag those and identify them and action them really quickly. So really, it's about and how fast this market moves. It's about being confident that you're able to catch those things, make the correct adjustments, and that's how long-term growth really happens. And that's really what we're focused on a lot of times, is helping brands grow sustainably, profitably over periods of time. We found in the market lots of performance agencies have these kind of tips and tricks and kind of flashy programs that'll get you a big spike in something, but it's not sustainable. It'll come back down. We're really looking at sustainable growth with our client base.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. So then that way our listeners can get a good understanding there of Finch. Then what would you say is that key problem that you guys like to solve for clients?
Yeah, so data transparency and communications are two really big things. I mean, right now, what we're learning in our sales process, going to events, talking to people in the market, almost everyone has kind of this agency fatigue problem. Everyone's got this bad breakup in their past where they had some performance agency that treated them poorly, and they felt like they were hiding data from them, hiding bad results, not communicating properly. And every 2 or 3 weeks we would get a performance call and find out something bad happened, but by then it's too late to really do anything. And so the problems we really solve are around those things. Yeah, getting great performance advertising out of us, that's the base level. I mean, any performance agency you work with, you expect them to be good at running your performance advertising campaigns and running through the platforms that work for you and your audience. But we'd like to elevate from that and say we want to be a true business partner for you. We want to talk about things that performance agencies typically don't talk about. We want to talk about what's your COGS, how much does it cost for you to get a product, any specific product or a category of products, from manufacturer to the door of the customer. Is there a way to help optimize that situation? All of these things affect profitability. And so as we're pushing traffic to the website, and I think another one of the key things we do that really helps our clients is we have a CRO program, so a conversion rate optimization. Just think about this, Ernesto. I can push as much traffic as I want to your website. If your website can't convert very well, it's not going to move the needle very much. So a lot of times what we see is you can improve conversion rates by 0.5% sometimes. And if you're getting enough traffic, that's enough to move that conversion needle quite a bit. So we really try to look at the holistic nature of what are those knobs that we can still turn now that automation's taking away a lot of stuff. PMAX, Meta Plus, Meta Advantage Plus. They're really trying to automate a lot of what performance marketers used to do. And so in that atmosphere, what are the things that we can actually still have control over? A few of those things. Conversion rates on your website is a big one. Creative operations and creative direction, another big one. So constantly being able to create new creative for your display ads so that you stand out in the market, and feeding the beast of these algorithms, making sure you can always elevate your game and test those creatives. So we really, I think, provide a lot of unique value in those spaces.
Definitely important. Okay, awesome. And I don't want to assume here, but your vertical, is it e-commerce, or is there maybe other type of vertical segments that you guys like to go after as well?
Yeah, so our deep experience is e-commerce. Yes. So, you're looking at brands, some of our larger, and we span all the way from, smaller kind of what you would consider SMB type of e-commerce companies, all the way up to brands that you already know of, like TaylorMade was one of our clients. So really what we look at, though, our gauge for the customers we work with, you got to be selling products on your website, and we try to steer away from resellers. These are proprietary brands that make their own products and source them and sell them. And we really try to work with brands that are spending enough. You got to be spending enough on a monthly basis to be able to make this system work, right? If you're not spending enough money, say, I think our floor is right around 10K a month. If you're spending around that much money, that's a good baseline for us to be able to test the things we need to test to make smart decisions, to get enough data through our performance marketing campaigns to really give you smart direction on how to spend your next dollar the most effectively and make the most money off of it, right? If you're spending less than that, it gets a little more difficult. But we go all the way up to clients that are spending up into the $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a month range, right? And so obviously you can get a lot of data and move pretty quickly in that instance.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Great to hear that. And so then, if I was in the e-commerce business, right, how would I usually find out about Finch? Is there a top client acquisition channel for you guys?
Yeah, so really our acquisition right now is really based around events that we're going to, that we can really have those one-on-one conversations. That's really where when we can sit down and explain, how we work with clients, the technology we've built to really enable ourselves to be good at what we do. We build technology for ourselves to service our clients the best that we possibly can. We don't sell it to the market. We don't white label it. It's our product, right? And so our acquisition channel is really events. And then we have a pretty solid outbound campaign, kind of an outbound motion that we do. I know email, it's old school, but it still actually works if you do it correctly. But we do dabble in paid search. Paid search is a bear for companies like us, because the keywords are really, really expensive. Some of the most expensive keywords in the world, honestly, because you're going up against these huge performance agencies across the world who are bidding on all of these same keywords. So, but we do dabble in that. We try to be very smart about how we retarget, how we look at those campaigns. But yeah, and our website, obviously, and we do so, social. We have our own podcast as well. Ernesto, you're invited to come on whenever you want if you'd like to come onto our podcast. But yeah, we use that as a branding channel. It also helps us get in contact with new clients that are looking for information, or new prospects that are looking for information on the e-commerce market. So we've got some moving parts out there. We're trying to connect it all into a better kind of media experience. And really, I think the future is going to be the brands that are doing the agencies that are doing really well. They're kind of focusing on this, media, kind of creating a media brand out of their e-commerce or out of their agency brand, right? And so they're producing lots of content. They're inviting their guests on from their ICP, right? Which, you know, I assume maybe that's what you're doing to me, Ernesto. I don't know, but they invite guests, invite guests on their podcast. It's a good way to warm up leads, get to know each other, and continue conversations. And really, what it's all about. Our CEO, Lee Roquet, shout out Lee. He's always saying we're all about people helping people. If we can help someone, even if that means they don't end up being our client, we still want to help people in our day-to-day. It's kind of our ethos, it's our brand, it's what we want to do. So all of our marketing initiatives are pointed towards that. How can we provide value? How can we provide information and honesty and truth to our market? And in a market that's crowded with lots of, there's, to be honest with you, Ernesto, BS, you know, people claiming to be these world-class experts and doing all this stuff. And it's hard to operate in an environment like that and be really able to trust the people that you're working with. So we were trying to fight that battle at every turn in our marketing system.
Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. And so that way, then our listeners could go ahead and visit you. They could always check you guys out at finch.com. What role then does the website play for client acquisition?
Yeah, what we try to do is from a top level down, explain kind of the story I told you there at the beginning, right? The website, yes, it's a conversion funnel, lots of forms, lots of CTAs, all that good stuff that you know, that give you the opportunity to reach out to us anytime you want. But really what our website, and I built the website, the one you're looking at there, maybe Ernesto, if you've pulled it up, I built that. It's constantly, one thing about, there's no longer a situation where you can set and forget a website. It's always got to be updated with the most, you know, recent information, the most the market wants to know that you're paying attention, right? And so we really try to, through our website, let them know, hey, we're paying attention. That's part of what the podcast does, part of what our blog does. You know, we create these useful pieces of info. But really the website, it's the doormat for your company, right? It's the welcome mat. You put it right outside and you say, hey, here's who we are, here's what we do, right? Dig in as much as you want and learn as much as you want, but really here's the kind of company we are, here's what our values are. Does that match what you're looking for, right? And that's kind of the first filter, right? If we're not, if you get on our homepage and that doesn't, and we're not speaking the language you want your agency to be speaking, you know, obviously we don't want to lead with just raw lead gen hooks of making sure you sign up and fill out a form, because not all form fills are created equal, Ernesto. So we have to be cognizant of that as well.
Yep, I would agree with that. Awesome, great to hear that. And then so let's switch gears a little bit then here, Mike, and let's talk about you as a leader. You being the director of marketing there for Finch. What are some key tasks you like to focus on your day-to-day work?
Boy, you know, it's difficult to narrow down one key task. I mean, I think when you work for a company, you know, the size of Finch, and we've gone through a lot of changes over the last couple of years. You know, I wouldn't say I'm not a one-man show, Ernesto, but I do have a lean team, and I know lots of marketers out there nodding along with me. Yep, that's how it goes. As the director of marketing, you know, I have a lot of good support. I got a lot of buy-in from my organization to help me do the things I need to do, because at the end of the day, Mike's just one guy, right? So but really the key is, you know, I'm always in our database, in our CRM, making sure that we are assigning MQLs and SQLs appropriately, that we are really being thoughtful about what people are doing on our website, how they're interacting with our content ecosystem, and when are the right times to reach out to them and provide them the right pieces of information to really, like I said, be useful to them, be helpful. We really think and believe that that's the best way to, in today's environment, to be there at the top of our clients' minds whenever they think, hey, I need a new performance agency. Wait, what about that Finch agency that's provided me all this other value? We have some free tools on our site for SEO. We have, lots of, we have a creative program where we offer some creative to people if they meet with us. So we're trying to provide that value. And really the thing I wake up and focus on is how do we do more of that, right? It's not kind of one key task. It's more of an idea of how do we as a marketing organization and as a company continue to provide value to prospects in the funnel to kind of move them through that funnel. So I'm really focused on that. and it all ends, it's all about sales, Ernesto. That's what we're all measured on. I think I read a quote, and I'm not going to attribute it because I will misattribute it, but it was on social media, something about if you're in and it may have been Gary Vee or something, but if you're in an industry long enough and you become senior enough, all jobs are sales, right? And so at the end of the day, you just kind of got to embrace that, right? Especially in a growth organization like we are. So really what I focus on is how do I get us to grow, get the best quality leads that we can, right? And sometimes that involves a lot of content stuff. Sometimes that involves really buckling down and doing the best podcast episode I can. It just depends on kind of the day. My days are pretty wild. They're not really kind of templated out where I can wake up and say, this is exactly the thing to focus on today. A lot of times it's, unfortunately putting out fires. Sometimes it's, working on a longer term project. So yeah, it's a little wild out here, but I don't think that's uncommon for most marketers.
I would totally agree with that part. Yep. I've heard a lot of marketers say the same thing.
Yeah.
And we'll jump into our next section then here, Mike, which is our rapid fire question rounds. Are you
Sure.
ready for them?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, then first off is, what is the last book that you read?
The last book that I read, it's called The Speed of Trust. It's by Stephen M.R. Covey. I think it's a little bit older of a book, but it's actually one that we read as an organization together just recently. And it's really all about how embracing trust in your organization, trusting people, not just internally, but your clients as well, displaying that trust, and really not just as an idea, but really buying into it can really accelerate lots of things in your organization very, very quickly. So it's been a very cool experience to read through those ideas and get over that kind of mental block some people have in their head with saying, oh, if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. Well, that can't be. If everyone in your organization thinks like that, then you're not going to have the cohesiveness you need to really be able to get over the hump and grow.
I totally agree. Okay, awesome. Great read there for our listeners. Next up then is, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Attribution.
Definitely, right? I think everybody's looking to where that money is being spent.
I mean, there are lots of things that I think technology is fixing currently, and it's getting crazier and crazier. I mean, AI, we talk about AI a lot, but AI is going to help with a lot of these things. The issue is, I think, verify. You have to verify, trust and verify, right? You trust what these systems are telling you, but we're still in the age of, you need to verify it. I mean, AI is just not quite there for you to be able to just trust everything that you get out of AI, whatever you're using it for, right? Whether that's content creation or helping with reading data and analyzing things. A lot of times, they can only be as good as the info. It's that old crap in, crap out, type of thing. You put bad info in, you're going to get bad info out. But I'm excited about where technology kind of is taking us right now. It gets a little scary if you get into the, Terminator style, AI is going to take over the world stuff. I don't think we're there, but it's interesting. We really do. It's a big part of my job. You asked earlier. I really do wake up a lot of days thinking, what's the new thing in AI today? Because it's going to be something.
Yep. I mean, it keeps evolving, so we'll just have to wait, right? Every year there's something new, so we'll see what's in store for us.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, there's no doubt in your experience in the marketing world, Mike, but what is that one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Restart a journey. Man, I'm actually pretty proud of my journey as a marketer and kind of how I've evolved and grown. I started out in SEO, started out in content. I have a writing degree, so that was kind of my easiest way into the marketing world. I think the advice I would give is earlier on, learn how businesses work, that business side of how revenue's generated, what are the important things for us to help in a successful organization keep growing. I was very myopic early in my career, and I think that's just natural. I was very myopic about just learning about marketing and how to be the best marketer I could. But I think, as I've grown into some more leadership roles, what that's really turned into is there's a lot more to marketing than just kind of some of the some of the channels that you can be good at, right? There are lots of different things. I mean, referrals are a huge deal. Good relationships with your clients and how you as a marketer interact with those relationships and get value out of those. There are lots of things that are not just sitting down and writing a really awesome blog post or creating a really cool piece of content. That's kind of the first step, right? And I was early on really just focused on, if I do that, then I'm doing my job, right? But I think there's a lot more to it than that. And I would encourage any young marketers that may be listening to this, you know, you don't have to take an MBA course or anything like that, but be curious, right? Ask your leaders, what's one top of your mind? What are you thinking about? Like, what's the big problem you're thinking about as the CEO, or as, you know, as a senior VP, right? What is it that keeps you up at night? Because the more conversations like that you can have, the more you can start to understand how your job impacts those things. And as you impact higher and higher up an organization, not only are you doing your job better, but you're going to move faster up in your career, essentially.
Definitely. Okay, awesome. Great to hear that. And well, I mean, we are coming to the end of our show here today, Mike. But before we do end, I do want to give you the last word. Say someone forgets everything about the interview today. What is that one thing they should remember about Finch?
People helping people. Lee's going to love that. But honestly, the empathy that you can show in a world chock full of AI bots, and sometimes you're not even sure if you're talking to a real person, you know, even if there's a video of them, you can now create these AI avatars of people that look, sound, and act just like people, right? In a world like that, authenticity and the true empathy that you can show toward the market is going to stand out more and more and more as more of your competitors lean into this AI environment. And I'm not saying don't use AI. I'm saying build in purposely human contact points so that you can really speak to your audience, speak to individual people, show them that you are empathetic to their problems, because that's really what people are looking for. They're coming to marketing agencies to solve problems for them. And if you don't show that empathy, that you understand that you've worked on those problems before and that you're thinking about them all the time, then you're gonna have a hard time of it.
Definitely awesome. Hey, well, to our listeners, you could always check them out at finch.com. If you're in the e-commerce business, they're the growth experts you can trust. Mike, thank you so much for being on with us today. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to our next episode at Pat Monk Presents. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Thanks, Ernesto.